Hey, Monica Henson here, and I am so excited because it is Wednesday, which means it is Mink Life, Motivation Live. And today we are going to dive into some awesome topics. And to do that, I'm just going to play with these controls here because, that's how we roll. It's live shows, so we're always trying to play with things. But what is interesting about today is we're really going to dive back into a little bit of history, and we're going to go into we're here now, but where have we come from? And that is because this week we're focused on staying relevant through product development. Now, this show itself has gone through some changes, and that conversation today with Andrea is going to be all about that. But to introduce Andrea, of course, I want you to know all about my co-host who's hanging out with me today. She is the wellness thrive strategist with Wellbeing and Worth, the Mink Life Motivation Dean of Mink Life University. Thank you so much, Andrea, for hanging out with me today. Peggy is not with us today as she is on her honeymoon. Sharing the love for sure. And of course, as usual, you are our third co-host on Mink Life Motivation Live, if my technology will actually work for me here. It's thinking about it, but it's okay. So we want you to chime in, and we're going to actually add the overlay so that you can see your chats happening live with us on the show today. So shall we dive into our topic today?
I think we should. I think it's going to be amusing.
It is going to be amusing. So what we failed to realize is that we have been doing Mink Life Motivation Live every week, with the exception of a few holiday weeks, for an entire year. We started the show in September of 2020. So much has happened in 2020. Ciao.
I know, right? Like I was like, has it been a year? Well, maybe it's been a year. And she's like, search. We're like, oh, we missed our anniversary. All the workaholics who don't know how to celebrate. So we're going to have a proper celebration when Peggy comes back.
Yeah, so next week, when Peggy's here, we'll have the proper evolution of the show and kind of what we've been through over the past year. But today, I guess Andrea and I are going to walk down memory lane a little bit. So if you're watching, we're about to show some OMG moments. So definitely let us know you're here as your, let's see, is that the direction? No, that's the direction. Your actual comments will pop up on the screen as we go. So let us know you're here. We see a couple of you watching. Say hey, and that will actually pop up. And I'm going to show you some vintage footage of this show. And then we're going to dive into how this show itself has evolved in order to stay and to help us at Mink Life Motivation stay relevant, and also kind of what Wellbeing and Worth has done over the past year, what Mink Life Motivation has done over the past year, how our collaboration has really kind of helped us continue to be in that evolutionary space. So I hope you're in for some very interesting times today.
It's going to be an interesting show.
It's gonna be a crazy show. Okay, so let me do this. Yes. So first of all, let's just talk about.
You know what this is like? It's like one of those YouTube get ready with me moments, and like there's an old before, and then there's like us at the bottom critiquing, like, look what I'm wearing, or oh my god,
right. So when we pulled up this first clip, this is the very first show of Mink Life Motivation Live. And I was like, OMG, I still got the swoop in the front, but I got a lot more hair in the back.
I sure do.
So definitely having evolved a little bit, but we're going to play a really quick quick clip of this as it is classic Mink Life Motivation.
So I am so excited today to be on live. I'm going to give a couple minutes for some of our friends on Facebook Live to come on.
We're always waiting for people to come on Facebook Live. But when we realized
so exciting
since then is that just do the show and
party started really soon.
awkward.
But this was kind of common then, if you think about it. People waiting for people to show up and tune in, and here we go. This is consistent. PowerPoint.
This consistent PowerPoint has been it. And what's funny
I
is
want to welcome everybody.
that was
to
my
Mink Life
bedroom.
Motivation Live. This is where you can get motivated, stay inspired, keep networking, and share knowledge for a life that's designed by you for you. So everyone can live healthier, wealthier, and more fulfilled.
And for those of you who don't really know Monica, she's a little nervous sounding. I was like, you sound nervous.
I am so excited to share with
extremely
you
nervous
this week on Mink Life Motivation.
I hear it now. I didn't hear it then.
Amazing women. We have Lee Levy, who is the owner and developer at Net.
Terrified.
We have
Absolutely terrified.
Strudina, and she is
a girl.
She's the owner of Smart Move 360, and then we also have
Yeah, really crazy. That hasn't changed any, guys. That has not evolved.
My hair is shorter. I cut it off.
Brought to you by the
I don't know why I cut my hair. Anyway, I like that haircut.
Basic Rights.
Yeah. So what was
First right is
hilarious about all of this
is your own life.
I was trying to throw so much from the original show.
The theme is stop setting goals.
I didn't know what a show was
activating
going to be
your vision.
like. And so I just threw everything at it.
So in our first segment,
All the
we're going to
things.
help you get
In the
motivated.
kitchen sink.
And the motivation is when you have motivation, it leads to action. When you have an action, it leads to creation. And when you have a creation, it leads to manifestation. Manifestation leads to reality. And so we want to make sure that this week you get a dose of motivation so that you can make your dream a reality. So this week's quote is brought to you by an
Keep
unknown
giving me
person.
stuff. I don't know what I'm
And
doing,
that
so we're just
is,
going to give them
don't
all the
focus
things.
on results. Focus on the activity.
True
And
story.
We're thinking about
This is true. This remains a
not
constant.
setting goals, but more creating a vision to live in. We want to think about one of the activities that will lead us to the life that we're really trying to bring forward in our lives.
Well, I didn't hear that. What you say?
To ask you,
I feel nervous for
our
myself
viewers,
watching this.
to
it's
share
okay.
what
You
your
okay? It's
motivation is.
You're okay.
And so what I would like to know is, what activities are you doing this week to keep you motivated to see your vision become a reality?
So I don't know
So if you
pause
live, or if this is streaming later and you're watching it later,
let's skip forward a little bit.
So, but the idea of activity is truly something we have maintained because we've been active.
Pushing forward. And
so yeah, like this kind of walk down memory lane is really
It was right after our second conference, right? Before the third.
It was after our second conference,
April,
before the third.
March, July, and right before October.
Yeah, and so the origin story of this show, I'll get into a little bit of that, was I needed to kind of create a external kind of view of what was happening internally, and it terrified me. It absolutely terrified me. For those of you who don't believe me but have heard me say, I am an actual introvert and I do have social anxiety, and staring into a camera and having to do a video was something that I just was not comfortable with. Now, obviously, I'm comfortable with it now, right? Because we've been doing it for over a year. But initially, it was like death. And literally death was descending upon me when we would start. And I would just be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I'm doing this. And, that happens to me every time I have a speaking engagement. But all of the kind of systems in place. So for those of you who don't know, my PowerPoints are literally like my security blanket, right? It's one of those things that helps me prepare of what I'm going to say ahead of time and gets me in that practice so that I can actually lean into the comfort of that. And the first show was not good, I don't think.
We didn't know any better. You know what? I don't think we knew any better.
No.
And more importantly, it's like, like you always like to say, we just try it. And if it's good, we keep it. And if it's not good, we change it. I mean, we didn't know what we didn't know. I mean, now people are so much more fluent and conversant. I think back then on Zoom, I think back then when we did the first conference, people were like, you guys are still doing this? And I mean, because of part of my business is in a network marketing thing, we had been using it a lot. So I was like, it can do all these things. And I was like, I hope. I mean, because I had a clue, right? And then it did, but we've gotten so much more sophisticated, everything. Like, so congrats.
Yeah. Well, it was the evolution of this show was really about adding in people to support it in a different way. So this first episode, I just kind of threw all my ideas at it, and we brought on a line at that point. # what's up, Alana? And she was like,
clarify the pictures.
Clarify, which is funny because when helping other people with product development, I'm literally telling people like, this is too much. It's too much to absorb. I think when we were working on Andrea's program, she's like, and I got to tell them this, and I got to tell them this. I was like, not all at this moment, not at this time, not in this day. You got plenty of time. We can stretch it out. So, it was a lot that we tried to pack in the first day. But what I want to emphasize is we did it anyway, right? We just started somewhere. And a lot of the times the start is the hardest part. And then after you get in, you figure out like, oh, well, that sucked a little. And then you kind of adjust what sucks into stuff that is awesome. And I think we've evolved quite a bit since.
You think? Now we're on Restream. We're not even using Zoom. We're multiplexing. We're simulcasting. Hello.
Yeah, simulcasting. So right now we're on LinkedIn. So hello to all my LinkedIn friends.
We're
on Facebook. We're going live on YouTube, on all of the things. One, because we stayed true to that original vision of what this was supposed to be, which was we were going to go multi-platform to really get the message out there that we are connected to amazing people and to share their stories, and that we are really here as a resource to help people. Yeah. So if you want to talk about being motivated, right? The motivation behind the show was really just about kind of, we're doing some amazing things and no one knows about it because it's just a little handful of us that are kind of like in the trenches working, getting those results, but not actually kind of being able to spread it. I mean, at this point, I completely launched Mink Life Motivation, and we had collectively come together for 2 conferences at that point. You had launched your detox and rejuvenation
reset. Cleanse now. It's called reset. Yeah.
Yeah, and we had finally started to see results, and this show was the way that we were going to start showcasing some of our success in that and sharing it out to the world, because no one was going to find us in our living room. Who knew?
Or bedroom.
Or bed. And at that time, I was in my bedroom. Yes.
I was in my bedroom.
I excavated my guest room and took it over. So now it's Mink Life headquarters. And then, now we're super fancy with Peggy's addition to
a real life studio set. That's true.
So we have a real life show, which I'm excited to get back on next week. And so it's been quite an evolution. So what has been the most inspirational thing for you about this past year and all of the evolutions that you've seen, your product and your
most inspiring thing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh, it's not one of the questions. No. Sorry.
Yeah, okay.
Everybody was like, well, that wasn't one of the questions. No, inspiring. I think it's got 2 levels. First, we had to do something, so we created everything. Like, they were ideas. So that idea of can't, and I truly never was a subscriber to the word can't. I just realized in a year what I can do. Now, admittedly, there were no distractions, so I had plenty to do. However, I had plenty of time. So the inspiration was really understanding that I always say this each week, we were able to make lemonade out of major lemons. Inspiring and the connections that I have with people now across the globe, that I'm like, hey, I see them around in events. I'm like, hey, these are my people. You're here. That's inspiring. The people I've helped is also super inspiring, and seeing the changes they have made physically or they've made in their business. So not only have I been inspired by the people that we've helped in Mink Life, but I've been inspired by the people that I've helped in my own business and the transformations in health that I've been privy to witness. Peggy, I love when she sits there, she's like, Andrea. But watching her at her wedding, I cried. I couldn't go, guys, because I was not feeling well, and she hangs out with a bunch of actors, and I didn't want to be the one that made them all sick and couldn't be on set. I didn't have COVID, but I had something that kept me away from the thing I helped prepare for. I was so upset, but I thankfully, brought to me into my, she live streamed. She looked so beautiful. She looked so happy, and she looked so radiant. And I really felt like I had a lot to help in that part. And it hit me. I was like, oh, I helped do that. Or you remind me, you got her in that dress and you did this. And I was like, yeah, she did all the work.
Y'all. she was
beautiful.
On your wedding day, you want to absolutely be and feel the most beautiful you have ever felt in your life. Yeah. And without a shadow of a doubt, she felt that way. Without a shadow of a doubt.
She radiated that through the live stream. She live streamed her wedding. I was glad I got to participate like that. But when I got into the live stream, there was her and the dress was being featured. And I was like, it was as good as being there, because it was hot that day. So I was like, well, at least I'm home.
Yeah. But
so that's my inspiration.
But and here's what's funny about that is, so remember when, going back down to memory, when you, at the end of May, when we had just finished doing the first conference, and you were like, okay, I think I want to create a course, and I want to finally use my, functional nutrition side and my NLP side together in order for those things to happen. And not a year later, how many lives you've changed, including Peggy's, right? And so it's just been such a phenomenal evolution from, I think I'm going to do a cleanse, to I think I'm going to actually really develop all
class.
Right.
Like another class, yeah, for sure. I definitely, it struck me that I had the power to make that kind of change. So that inspires me. Yeah. I mean, when you work and you're helping people, I think for people who don't know us, we're helping people, like, oh, look what they just did. It's like having another baby. And they're like, oh, look at my baby. She did such a good job. Or seeing them come into their own. Hey, Arena, you were just on the show.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw it earlier, but we played a clip and you were there. On the first show, actually.
On the very first show. So yeah, it definitely, that has been inspiring. It keeps me inspired, and it keeps me in action, because I'm like, what's next? I think we were supposed to be talking about product development. So that's how we're going to weave that around back to that.
Well, as our co-hosts are chiming in finally, and maybe every stream took a while for them to get on. I heard last time that was one of the issues, but if you have, what was your inspiration as the fourth co-host, or this, I guess, third today co-host? What was your inspiration? What was the most inspirational thing about last year as you were developing your own products and services? What inspiration did you find from that process? We'd love to hear from you guys. So go ahead and drop that in as we continue to kind of talk about, this past year, the evolution of the show, and the evolution of our products along the way. What has been crazy about it, every single time I thought I was done. Oh, okay.
Wait. I kind of realized we're never done. That was a sobering moment.
Yeah, I literally had tears when I was hanging out with Val. And she was like, why are you crying? And I was like, I was in a coaching session with her, and I was like, I just realized the death of simplicity. like it's ever evolving, ever expanding, every single time someone needs something, I have to create a product or a service to support their need in a way that they feel like a seamless kind of transition from one thing to the other. And so that entire process has been really, truly kind of phenomenal. So a simplicity is power, I think is
powerful is what you wrote. Just as you were like, the loss of simplicity. And she's like, well, simplicity is powerful. I was like,
it really is, but I thought, well, 2020, when it started, I was like, oh, well, I just have to create this program. Look, Andrea, I created a program. We just need to launch it. That'll be the end of it. No, that was not the case. That was absolutely not the case.
It was not the case. If in point of fact, I think we got more inspired by what we learned in the conference. However, to your point about simplicity, I think you made a really good point about filling a need based on something that came out of an evolution of a client. That is organic. And that has a simplicity as opposed to let me find a new idea and redo my whole business. There's a difference. And so I think that is the thread that we realize we have tons of content. They can be changed. They can be repurposed, repackaged. So much so, and you said that, I was thinking about the questions and we were preparing for this talk, and I was like, product development. I even actually, because of feedback, am taking a step back to prep my people to move further with me. Like, it's interesting. Like, the feedback told me I needed a little simpler, or I needed more simplicity, or I needed something that was faster. And as a function of I'm like, nothing's fast. It took you a while to get that way. It's going to take you a while to get back out, which is true. Yeah. But I think people also want to feel successful quicker and to feel themselves change. Then they're like, now I can dig in and grit it out, right? Like I don't know if our Facebook user is Joe, but I think Joe said something. We were working on a project just yesterday. That was evolution, right, Monica? Where we're like, we're not answering a certain question over here. And we start scratching our head. Next thing you know, we're on a conference presenting. So just recently, we have a new idea of brewing. She alluded to it. So
absolutely. The thought was, okay, just launch a program. That's what people need. And then when we launched when it was time to launch a program, it's like, no, that's not what people need in this moment. So the program needs to go back burner. Instead, what they need to do is come together and really kind of think out what's happening. Okay, so how do we do that? Okay, so we do a conference. We haven't done a conference before. We got to figure that out. So then we create a conference.
That was a huge pivot. Yeah.
Huge pivot. And then from the conference, it was like, okay, wow, what you guys did is really awesome. What else do you do? Oh, well, we have this program. And then we put them through the program so fast. It was 2 days.
Oh, we did that.
Do you remember?
I forgot. It's PTSD. Yeah.
2 days for 6 sessions that now we do over the course of 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But that evolution was necessary because it was a traumatic experience for people to have to go through all that content over the course of 2 days, right? And we do a little boot camp version of it in the conferences, but so I thought it would be okay. But after getting the feedback, it was like, this is too much to digest. This is really good, but it's too much to digest. And then it was like, okay, so maybe we need to figure out a way to do it longer. So now we do it in a more extended space, and everyone does it at their own pace. But it was out of necessity, right? It was out of clients' feedback that next evolution of, we need it this way, or maybe I'm not ready to do this whole program yet. I just need to kind of understand and grasp the concept of, I have to work in 24 parts of my life and business on a weekly basis. What are you talking about? Hence the incubator, right? And that came from a need of everyone having these action planners and not having the time blocking, the organizational skills to go back and visit each of these things on a regular basis. And so each time that we built something for Mink Life Motivation, it was out of a need driven from that grassroots place. So when you're thinking about your product development and how that evolution is happening, you want to look at the client. And what's funny is, so Colleen, shout out to Colleen, she just had her beta of her Fall in Love with Follow-Up experience. And
you can't shut up about it because it's so good.
It's so good. So I'm like, you should come with me. I'm having a good time, right? It is amazing, right? It was the beta version, so it didn't have all bells and whistles. It didn't have like the actual literally bells and whistles and the PowerPoint and all of the the worksheets and all that stuff. It was just the basic concept. And I remember before she launched that beta version of it, she's like, well, it's not ready, not complete, I don't have all the things. And I was like, it's okay, because going through that beta process will help you understand what is necessary and what's not necessary, so you don't double back and have to fix all that extra work that you did to make it perfect. And that was literally what happened. After she did it, then she was like, okay, here's what I liked, here's what I didn't like, and this is what I want to build. And there was some clarity in that. So I think if you are thinking about launching something or changing your product or doing whatever it is, okay for it to be imperfect at first, because the market will actually refine it like a diamond, make it really shiny and really amazing, because you're literally leaning into the needs of the people who are in that space. It's so good. I get excited every day. Want to follow-up time? It's follow-up time, and I can go. I also rant and rave about Andre's product too. Every time I have to help the product, I swear to you, I'm like, that is the best thing. You should go, because I'm about kind of like, I'm like helping with the experience, but I'm also like kind of testing the product out at the same time. And so when it's like, oh no, this is really good. Like the idea was great, but like in execution, this is amazing.
Right? Or I will admit this here publicly. So I said I thought I should do a class because I was always accustomed to doing one-to-one, right? And I thought I can help more people. And I also know we like to work in groups. We just do. And I think after watching the conference, when I came here, I was like, I think I need to do a class, because wow, this class thing really works really well, right? As opposed to one-to-one, which is still very gratifying, and I still do, right? But it was also, funny thing is that there was a client that I didn't want to take by myself. I needed to be in a class. This person needed to work with others to believe the process. And that's really, it was so insightful. So when we went in and we did it all, and I was then blown away at the success of the group. I was like, you lost how much weight? Because it wasn't about weight. But everyone was so excited.
No. Okay, I just tell y'all that she was like, it should be called.
Oh no, you broke up. What should it be called? Can you all hear Monica? Oh no. Am I here alone?
No, I'm here.
Okay.
I froze a little bit.
What were you going to say? It should be called what?
It should be called the liver cleanse. And I was like, no one's coming to that ever.
That's exactly right. I did have some.
It's really important that your liver has some,
I was being so nerdy.
No one's coming to that. No. Mm-mm. Nope. And so, but so what her intention was, right, is to have your liver really kind of do the work of what the liver does. So, and in that process, you end up releasing weight, you get better, your complexion gets better, so everything in your body gets better because the liver is actually doing what it's supposed to do. But like, sassy to me, I don't think about my liver. When I think of liver, I think of that stuff I don't like eating, right? So like, no, that is not a good thing. And so yeah, so, but when we got in there, we were doing the work of cleaning up the liver, right? And we had wrapped beautiful pictures. And when we were creating those PowerPoints, and she was like choosing all these pictures, and I'm like, the PowerPoint, we really worked together. Liver quiz. Yes, that is what she wanted to call that. Yes. Please ask her about that was
if that's still that's why it's not called that anymore.
That's why.
So that was market research. So I was like, oh, I want to do a liver thing. She's like, nope. I was like, but that's what it is. She's like, nope. I was like, okay, what should we call it? So I actually, because of the steps, then Monica and I, like, we're always back and forth with each other with words. And so I was like, oh, that's nice. And actually, I have even had feedback now where people are like, detox scares me. And I'm like, but there's a whole, so now it's a reset. It's not even a cleanse. It's going to be repurposed. You guys, this is real time. It's launching in October, again, for the fourth quarter, getting people all geared up. I'm like, because you don't start the new year and do it. You get ready. You kind of cheat during the holidays, and then the new year you can like reestablish. So I'm going back and I'm going to reopen it, but it's going to be called the Detoxification and Rejuvenation Reset. And people love that. That has now been what do they call it? Market research, and that seems very affirming. And that must be
Do you see the green face?
I do. Liver green. Yeah, I know. It's actually your gallbladder that makes the bile, but that's a whole nother conversation. I can't make my little square or whatever, but anyway, so thank you.
Definitely.
I'm all turned around.
Yeah.
Because on Zoom I have it so that I can see what I'm doing, but I can't anyway. I have gifts, as you just saw, visually, not that. That's why I have a friend called Monica.
Yes. So, the evolution of the product is always happening, right?
Always.
It's never ending. There's always a new iteration of it. And so now when people go through it, they feel like, oh, it's so professional and so this and so that. But they don't realize that 18,000 versions of changes that went into the process. I feel like every time you do it, you change a little bit, right? Based on the feedback.
Yeah. It's actually it's changed. It's going to be really different now going into this October version. It's a full 8 weeks, and it will be the full planning. Like, I had split it up before with the mindset work, and now it's truly going to be that rejuvenation and reset is going to be every week. And so it's a little longer to get people's feedback on how they want to process the information, because it used to be just an hour once a week. It needs to be 2 now. So we'll figure that out.
It really does make a difference if you give yourself that extra time. I mean, especially since that's what we experienced yesterday when we were giving our presentation, right? People don't take the time to even think.
So they have to do it with me, and then therefore they'll get through it. So definitely that is one of the major changes. So people are like, I did it before. I'm like, well, we're doing it again with more of what's between your ears so that you'll actually keep these actions going. So
yeah,
I'm happy to report.
We are always down to do the next iteration of it. So we are always ready, always in to do that. So we'll be there for sure with bells on. But that's one of the things with all of the people who are coming out of Mink Life University with their programs is they're learning this ethos as well. Right? They're learning that it is about constantly evolving and getting better and learning the next iteration of your businesses. And so Irina did her launch for her program and her group, and it's massive, y'all, massive group. And so she did the launch and had some success, and now she's going back and kind of rejuvenating that and getting to the next phase and moving that along. And Colleen just did hers. And so all of them are really kind of doing this process. And even Mink Life Motivation, right? We are constantly going
because of their successes, change how to deliver the initial product.
Exactly. So, all that to say that it's important for that evolution and that product development to happen on a regular basis. And we literally worked on that earlier today in the incubator. In the Mincubator, we worked on product development, and we do it every day. So I guess the last question that I have, because, we're having fun going down memory lane, is who has been pivotal?
Right.
Peggy, that's right. Peggy did start hers already. And she's been kind of kicking butt on it. I don't know if it's been through any iterations yet, as she's just launched hers, but I'm sure it will probably be the same. But so who would you say, when we talk about networking, right? Who would you say would be one pieces that you had to add in this process of your evolution?
Gosh. Pivotal. Understanding that I needed people just to help, period, full stop.
Yeah.
They've all been key. I had to have good VAs and bad VAs so that my VA enterprise processing or interview process is better, right? We work on this in Mink Life. How good the quality of your questions is going to be the quality of your results. And so that for sure has been being able to articulate to people who help you is a skill, and one that definitely, it's kind of neat like this, is not clear enough. You really have to be clear with yourself so you can get the assistance that you want. So I've had good relationships with, people that have helped me, because certainly, the part I don't like is the whole marketing, and I just want to sit and work with my people and just make the pictures pretty, please. And, it still takes some, my part. I have to think of the whole iteration of how it's going to go out. Like, you as that person in charge really do need to know from top down how things are going to trickle. So I think the pivotal part has been, one, remembering I couldn't do it myself, and getting people at certain intervals and honing that process. It's getting better and better. However, I don't think I'm anywhere near done.
Yeah, can I say, y'all, so I'm telling on her again, she was not comfortable with even me helping her with things. She was like, we're gonna help me with my PowerPoints. We're gonna spend all these hours on Zoom together and make this happen. And I was like, yeah, how are you gonna do this by yourself? Like, you can't do this for yourself. There's only so many hours in the day for you to get all the things done. We're just gonna work through it together. And so for you to have evolved to this point, I'm so very happy to see that you have embraced the help, because it is so necessary.
Oh my gosh.
Not do it all yourself, and you get to do the part that only you can do in your business, which is actually affect the change in the business. You know what I mean? It didn't change in the clients themselves. And so
that's my happy place. But I love, put the Scorpio thing there. You're just trying to malign Scorpios, but are you trying to say we're control freaks? I do have a little bit of a controlling nature. I want things just so. Right,
but it's when someone's working in their zone of genius, it never feels like a burden. And I think what I was getting from you back then was really, oh, well, I don't want to bother you, or you have your own things to do. And I was like, this is my zone of genius. I can whip this out way faster than you can. I suck at words. How about you do my words for my business?
And I'd be like, here, it's done. And she's like,
and then we can make it happen.
Oh, look at that. So for sure. like, I think people are probably tired of us talking about how it was like a happy accident, COVID. Like, forced us to buckle in and sort of go, you're good at that, I'm good at this. Oh, let's do this thing.
Right.
So
I was like, oh, this could work. This could work. And she would like, okay, I got all the words in the PowerPoint. I'm going to go to sleep now. It's like, I'll be up really early. I'll go in and make it all beautiful. And when she'd wake up, it'd be like, ta-da, there it is, right? And then I would be like, yeah, I here are bullet points. I got nothing. And she'd like come back and I'd like open up the document and be like, oh, look, there's words. When people are working in their zone of genius and when you can empower them to work in their zone of genius, you get more done faster. And so when you're really trying to develop your product or your program, you need the other people who are better at it than you to actually do it. And so that's why it's so important to network. It's so important to constantly talent scouting as a leader business of like, what talents can I tap into that you enjoy doing? I can leverage for what I'm trying to do, and how can I give you value in return, whether it's money or exchange, barter. Some of us are, don't have a lot of money when we're starting off in our businesses, but that doesn't mean that you can't pull together a team to help you with that product development. So super important. Okay, so last piece, tribe. Yes, absolutely. What is your one tip for kind of evolving your products and services?
Of kind of evolving or actually evolving? Well, one tip. Who are you serving? Are they being served? That's the tip. I mean, we gave it away earlier is, am I answering what my clients need, or is it what I think they need? And a lot of us entrepreneurs really have to constantly check in, I think, as I call myself out, just making sure that I'm really working for them, that I get to share my expertise in a way that can be received by people who claim it and want it and need it. And so it is truly, we can all have a great idea, but there has to be people that want to receive the idea. So
Absolutely. In the program, we talk about, is it accessible? Is it reliable? Is it functional, right? Those are the three things. Is it functional? Is it reliable? And is it accessible? And if it doesn't meet those three things as a minimum requirement, then it's time to go back in.
Time to fix it.
Really, really kind of put it together. Well, you and I have gabbed our way into 40.
We were like, what are we going to talk about today? We don't have Peggy. We don't have a guest.
We don't have a guest. What are we going to do? But apparently we made it happen. Thank you to our co-hosts, our third and fourth and maybe fifth, I'm not sure, co-host, for chiming in. We do appreciate you. What are our announcements? And co-host, since you actually have the screen too, so go ahead and drop in thing that you are actually working on that you would like to announce as well in the chat. But Andrea, so we heard that there's another iteration coming.
Summer is sleeping, is being put to bed, and we're in fall. And I was laughing this morning in the shower that I was like, I'm a very unusual person. How fall makes me wake up, and most people are like thinking about the next year. I'm like, oh, I feel like energized to go. And so the beauty of that is, yes, I am starting. A couple of things are happening. I'm going to have a webinar, and we can I don't know where to put the details, on the key to what Wellbeing and Worth really thinks works. And I'm going to offer people two options. They can do a 6-week program or an 8-week program, all to get done before Thanksgiving. So don't worry, enjoy your Thanksgiving. As a bonus, I have a whole Thanksgiving menu that I'm going to give you. So you can eat right. It's yummy. You'll love me for it. So that's going to be the the way to enjoy the Thanksgiving, approved by Andrea. And but the thing I'm really like geeking out on right now, and I talked about it a little bit yesterday, is on Friday the 23rd, in the warm up to the launch of the Weight Loss the Right Way boot camp, and then of course the detox are going to happen. You pick your poison, so to speak, and you work with me. I'm starting to talk more and more about menopause and that time of life, and I'm going to be a guest on a Facebook Live on the 23rd. And it's come ask me questions about menopause, but I'm on a mission to really help women understand this very sensitive period in our lives, and to demystify it and to help us lean in how to live well, because we are truly in this period of perimenopause, really setting ourselves up to how we're going to live our elder years, like, past 65. So tune in. I want you to bring your questions, stump the chump. I want to be stumped live on Facebook. Oh, that's a trip, but whatever, I'm going to go there. And I'm working with a woman out of the UK, and it's going to be fun. So Monica will.
Those wise years. The wise years.
Yeah, the wisdom years. I really want us to reframe it so that we own it better. I'm reading this wonderful book from a woman out of New Zealand, and she calls it a second puberty. And I'm like, you know what? And it's way longer than the first one. And so we really do need to learn how to live well in that time. Mm-hmm. So who knows? Give it a few months. It'll be class. It'll be a workshop. It'll be something. But I'm talking about it. I want your feedback. I'll be chatting y'all up about it. So that I'm really excited. So I'm like laughing because it's like September. People are like, the year's almost over. I'm like, yes, I can't wait to get it started. People are like, but I think I'm already in 2022. I think that's why I'm excited, because this is my time to get ready for 2022. So I've all these good ideas. I get to sort of like, what do you call it? Not gestate over the holidays. So it's going to be great. So yeah, let's get healthy. So I'm really excited about the boot camp and the reset this time. And I'll be in there with you with a hormonal thing on top, Lens. It's going to be awesome. So be there before.
Nice. And the announcements that I have obviously are, Mink Life Motivation and the community of it all. And so we are really kind of excited about all that we're doing with the community, the courses, and the conferences. And so much is going on in our world. But the primary focus right now is it's about to be conference season again. And now we're only doing conference season twice a year. So that is an evolution that we've decided to take ourselves on. So what's next? I know, right?
Here we go. What a relief.
What's next? We are really gearing up for the conference to level up. We have gotten some awesome speakers already signed up, and we're still accepting applications for all 4 of the conferences. So for Los Angeles, for Sydney, for Johannesburg, and for London. We have some amazing moderators who have already signed on. We have some sponsors who are actually signing on, which is not something that I expected to happen as well. And the passes are already on sale. So if you go to nextglobalvirtualconference.com and you want to be a part of the most amazing summer camp 2-day experience for entrepreneurs by entrepreneurs, then you definitely want to show up. I didn't change the slide because I was not intending on showing it today, but it's okay. You can always, it is our nature to nurture. And so let's nurture each other. I want to say that this is one of the few slides that has not changed much since the beginning. We just added a few bubbles. But I will say is I'm so excited to, to have been with y'all for over a year doing the show, and my co-host Off the Couch. Andrea, thank you so much for being an amazing partner in crime. I could not have done any of the things I have done over the past year without your sanity or our collective keeping each other sane moment.
The balance, yeah.
And I am also low-key announcing that I will be starting seminars with U University at Wellbeing and Worth as well, coming up in the new year. So,
you know what, y'all? She's like she's pushing me to launch this U University. So she just put it out there. So that means I have to do it now. See,
that's right.
It kind of gets on my nerves sometimes. Just this is how we get into trouble.
Don't tell me something if you don't really make it happen.
Lord have mercy. Anyway, so this is product development live. Pressure.
We love you. We will see you next week. Don't forget, sharing is caring, and have a great, amazing, awesome week. See you next Wednesday.